All right, this is Conversation Convo Combos, and we are talking about anime and their strong points and how they influence us. I have a lot of animes that I watched that definitely motivated me and inspired me. One, and I'm not gonna bring the Forbidden Four, but it's an old classic one, and this is Yu Yu Hakusho. Yusuke. Yusuke, he was a very he was a punk. He was definitely a punk. He had his moments where he was very like a little bit arrogant, but he could show up for his arrogant because he was very strong and he was very persistent, but he didn't really know too much about his emotions because he was very concealed. But then when I remember the old lady Genkai, she would say that like like you're a dumbass. It's like you don't realize the potential that you have, and you need to explore that because you're over here. You're keeping yourself held. And then when he was doing the training with Genkai, and they were channeling the spirit gun and keeping him balanced, like you're talking about doing like one hand push-ups with just like the tip of your finger, and he was trying to channel his chakra or energy, and he was keeping him posted like literally like straight vertical, and she was just like, oh, like you have all this energy to keep on talking shit, but then when it comes down to training you keep on slacking. You're nothing but a fucking slacker, and you think that you're over here going to be able to defend people in your life. Give me a break. And then he was like, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." It's like like he was just very like when you pissed him off, he would show his energy, and that's where it really like benefited him. So, definitely Yu Yu Hakusho. It was like inspiration for like realizing your true potential in you and like breaking your limit cap. And then definitely Naruto. I think like my hands down favorite character in Naruto, it would have to be Rock Lee, because Rock Lee, he went through like thick and thin, because he went through the most, because he didn't have new ninjutsu or genjutsu. All he had was taijutsu, so all he had was nothing but the hands. So he had to base all his fighting style and all his effort and energy and his mind into nothing but complete fighting. But it benefited him because a lot of these ninjas that were coming into the game, Chunin exams, all that stuff like that, he was able to at least put up, a fight, because he was doing nothing but straight giving you these hands. I mean, like when he fought Sasuke for the first time, even Sasuke was just like took a step back, and he's just like, oh, I gotta use the Sharingan on this dude, because it's like I can't even catch him.
Yeah.
Because he was so fast that it was just like I could watch him and I could look him, but like his speed is so fast that I can't capture what I need to copy. And he was just like all over the place. And then when he fought Gaara, I felt bad when he fought Gaara, because he fucked up Gaara pretty damn good. But then when Gaara gave him the sand burial, and then he crushed both of those limbs, it was pretty much it. But even then, he still had that fighting spirit, and he was incoherent. So he still had the fighting spirit, and he was willing to go, but he wouldn't be incoherent. It would have been like pretty much just a zombie fighting a human being. But even then, Gaara was pretty much on the floor, because he was so fast to the point that Gaara had his sand armor, but even his sand armor wasn't able to catch him, because he would punch him here, then punch him behind, and the sand armor wasn't as fast as it could keep up with Rock Lee, to the point that it was just sporadic all over the places, and then he was able to find a weak point because it couldn't catch it, and then boom, literally broke through the sand armor that was on the outer layer, and then was able to deck him in the face point blank. So yeah, shout out to Naruto for their inspiration, and just realizing, anything's capable if you really put your mind to it.
Yeah. I'd have to say our anime movies on the table.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say Your Name was a good anime movie. Um,
I don't think I've seen that one, but okay.
it's really good.
Elaborate.
I actually have it. So we could probably watch it at some point.
Yep.
But basically, it's about this boy and this girl. They go to school,
Mm-hmm.
but they're in totally different areas, and for some reason, they end up crossing, like not crossing paths, but they end up mind swapping. And mind you, they're not even in the same location. They're not even in the same time frame. Like, I believe he's like several years in the future, and she's several years in the past.
Yep.
But they end up mind swapping.
Oh,
and I don't want to
wow.
spoil it. Like, the movie goes into detail. But
That's actually
basically,
interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
he's trying to live her life because, I mean, he's got nothing he can do. He's in her body. He's got to live her life.
Okay.
So it does go into funny things, like he's groping himself with stuff because he's like, "Oh, I'm a girl."
Yeah, I mean, like to be honest with you, if any guy turned into a girl, I mean, like shit, yo, if you turn into a girl that has like big ass titties, you'd be like, yo, like what?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, like yo, I got these. Like,
Yeah.
hold on, wait a minute.
But basically, it goes through, and he goes through her life. She goes through his life. So they go through it, and then come to find out, she actually is set on course for a doomsday.
Oh,
Her town is supposed to get basically ended.
like annihilated, like the same thing that they did in Resident Evil when they completely eradicated
Yeah.
Raccoon City.
And basically, he's got to figure out how he could stop it or help her stop it. Otherwise, that could mean he'll never get to see her.
Yeah.
Starts building emotions,
Mhm.
like, hey, she actually, like, she looks cute.
Yep.
I like her family. I like her friends. Like, I could actually vibe with this. And
Yeah.
the same with her. She starts like, oh, he's kind of quirky, funny.
Mhm.
Like, you know, they're messing with each other, like writing stupid notes in each other's journals.
Yeah.
And, like, messing with each other and stuff like that. And it's a good, heartfelt. It is confusing. Like, it's kind of, you'll be like, what? Hang on. But once you,
But yeah, you have to follow it. You
once
have
you
to like
follow it,
actually like pay attention.
it really is. I mean, it pulls at the heartstrings because you're like I said, you're talking about someone who's basically on course to die. Basically,
Yeah.
they're gonna die. All their friends and family and everyone they know are potentially gonna die, and you're the only one who knows about it and can try and help stop it. And mind you, she has no idea. He finds out because he does the research, finds out what happened to the area that she lived in, but it's definitely a must watch because it just shows you that, like, in the movie he stops at no end to try and like accomplish, like, hey, I'm gonna try and help you, I'm gonna try and like stop this or prevent this.
Yeah.
Granted, you can't prevent natural disasters and stuff like that, but it just goes to show, like you said, I mean, nothing's gonna stop you.
Yeah.
Just like Broccoli, nothing stopped him. This guy, nothing stopped him. But definitely, it's a high suggested anime movie on my end.
That reminds me of another anime, Mihai and Nikki, which is also conjugated to My Diary. So you're talking about this dude that like wakes up and he's living his life, and then he has a phone, and the phone first starts off ordinary, just a normal flip phone. You have a normal flip phone, and then you're going to school and stuff like that. Then you go to sleep and you're having these weird dreams, and then you're seeing this weird like person that's like sitting on a throne, and he's like saying like, oh, like you're gonna be my next successor and stuff like that and everything. And you're like, all right, you don't really give no mind to it. Okay, it was nothing but a dream. But then you're getting these text messages that's like telling you stuff that's happening in the future, and you're like, what? And then when the stuff happens, you're just like, whoa, well, like this stuff really happened, like right then and there. And then I think there was either 7 or 8. It was either 7, 8, or 9 other counterparts that were associated that had the cell phone capability, but they all had different capabilities. There would one that would tell you the future. There would be one that would tell you what the person's doing. There would be one that would be able to tell you like how the person feels. Each one had a different characteristic, and that's the thing that I loved about the anime. But the anime went in because like he like grew like fond of one, but she was on a psycho obsessive point. Now like when I'm talking about psycho obsessive point, you're talking about like she was willing to kill people just to be with you, and it was just like, yo, like, all right, that's a little too much. Like she literally killed her friends, or she killed like people around him just to be with him. And he was like, "Oh, like you killed your friends," and she was like, "Nah, just graze them." Like, what do you mean? You just, like they're laying on the floor, like literally, like blood and everything like that. And she killed her own parents, and that was like, that was that. When I saw that episode, I was
she
just
was
like,
on eliminate any obstacle that's in my way.
yeah, but it was like I was not expecting to see that. Like her. Like, imagine you going over to a girl's house and you've been talking to her for X amount of months and stuff like that. And you've grown fond to her. She's very flirty with you. Y'all holding hands, kissing each other. She's all over you. You know, she puts her head on your shoulder while you're, like, taking the bus or whatever like that. And then she invites you over. And then you're like, oh, like, where's her parents and stuff like that? And she's like, oh, like, I'm going to go do something in the bathroom, whatever like that. I'll be back in a minute. So then, you know, you're kind of just being a little adventurous. You know, you're just chilling. So you open up the sliding doors and stuff like that, because that's how they got it over there. And you open up one sliding door, and you're getting the stench. You're smelling something.
Like, what is that?
Yeah, you're like wondering, like what is that smell? And then you're opening up sliding doors, and like you're getting closer to it, but each sliding door isn't like replicating what it's actually supposed to smell like. You're getting closer and closer, and then you finally open one sliding door, and then all you see is like body bags. And you're seeing body bags, and then like the stench is so strong, and then you see the blood marks, and then you have enough courage to unzip it, like the body bag, and then you're seeing like all, like you're seeing a head, you're seeing arms and stuff like that, and it's all like already like it's already deformed because it's been how do you call it?
Decomposed.
Yeah, it's already been decomposed to a certain point that it's already rotting the skin, and then you're starting to see the bone because it's already been sitting there for a couple months and stuff like that, and then she's coming in right behind you after you unzipped it, and she was just like, oh, like why did you open the door? Like, why did you look at that?
There's a game.
And that's like, yeah, no, I know there's a couple like games like that, but it's like just seeing it from like anime point and just watching it from like that like perspective, and like you're watching episodes upon episodes, and then it's leading up to it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And she was really like, she was the jealous type, and she was like a psychopath, and she was just like very like clingy. So it's like you had like the trifecta. You had the trifecta, and it was just like, yo, like that's crazy. Like these animes, they do a really great job to really like keep you on the edge and then involve you, and then when like shit hits the fan, you're like, oh shit. Like Attack on Titan, like those episodes definitely went in. Like when Captain Levi, when you got his backstory and stuff like that, you kind of understand where he's coming from, because he lost his whole team and he lost someone that was very close. So now you see the way that he reacts towards Titans, and you see the way that he maneuvers. Like, he doesn't do that because he's trying to show off. No, he's doing that because he's trying to kill them on point. He doesn't care what type of Titan it is. It could be a casual Titan, it could be just like a common Titan, whatever like that. No, he's rolling on that shit with his double blades all the way to the back of the spine, immediately disenables and kills it, and then when he gets to that point that it's already pretty much like dead and done, goes right back to it and just ends it. Because if you've been through the stuff that Captain Levi went through, then you kind of understand that perspective. Same thing like One Piece. Certain characters in One Piece, when they experience certain stuff, like shit, like damn, like, I'm trying to remember his name, but like he went through a really traumatic thing where he was an orphan, and he was really buddy with this like big like kind of jack dude, whatever like that. Sean could tell you about this.
Yeah.
But it was just really sad when I watched the video. It was randomly on YouTube, and I decided to like click on it, and I was just like, wait a minute, like this is the animation from One Piece. Let me check this out. And when I checked it out, I was like, dude, like that explains so much, because it's like it's all about the backstory. Yeah. It's all about the backstory and what the person's been through, and how it makes them come out in the world. You know, same thing like Naruto, like. People like to give Itachi a lot of shit. I mean, like, there's a lot of fans of Itachi because either A, people did the backstory, or B, people like the way that he looked, or whatever the reason why you like Itachi. But Itachi, he stood a strong point that he was only trying to protect the Hidden Leaf Village. He wasn't trying to be like, oh, I'm going to kill my whole village and kill my whole clan because I'm a badass. No, he didn't do that because he was a badass. He did that because he was trying to save the Hidden Leaf Village, because the Uchiha clan didn't like what the Hidden Village was about and didn't like what they were doing and stuff like that. So they started to like, you know, protest, and they were going to do their own thing and stuff like that. And Itachi was more humble and he was more understanding, and he decided, he's just like, no, like I don't think we should do that. And they still rebelled against him. They were like, well, you can go ahead and feel how you feel, but we're still going to do this, because regardless whether you're part of our clan and you share the bloodline, if you interfere, we're going to kill you. And then that's why that night that he was just like, all right, I'm going to kill everyone. Yeah. That's why he did that, because he's like, I'm going to catch you in your most vulnerable point, and I'm going to execute you all. And then also he had a close friend that was Sushi. And Sushi, he was a close friend of Itachi. And the sad story was that I don't remember. I think one of Itachi's eyes is actually from Sushi, or at least a strong resemblance of Sushi, because when Sushi died and he sacrificed himself during a battle, Sushi sacrificed one of his eyes for Itachi so that way he could obtain that power, and he wanted Sushi to live on with Itachi because they had that blood bond. But you just see how far it goes.
Yeah.
With these animes. It just goes so far in depth.
Yeah. It's like there's a whole story behind them. It's not like no simple, oh, this is just kind of like one of those six season shows. Like, no, there's like deep backstory behind the characters and stuff. And I feel like that's what a lot of the overseas animes and overseas video games digs into, is they're like, we need to make these characters relatable, likable, enjoyable, or hateable.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you said it the best. You said that, like, hateable. I mean, if you're talking about hateable characters, I mean, if we're not even going to anime, we can even talk about, like, live action. Yeah. You're talking about the governor from Walking Dead. You're talking about Negan from Walking Dead. Like, both those main characters, they were, like, how I like to call it, the necessary evil.
Yeah.
Because they presented a persona that it was just like, dude, I fucking hate this guy. Like, he's such a dick. Simon.
Yeah.
Simon was a huge douchebag in Walking Dead because he killed all the people that was in part of that junkyard or whatever like that. And it was just like, he got pissed off because she punched him in the face because he didn't like what she was not presenting, because he kind of a little bit stepped over the line when he was saying that, like, oh, like you need to be providing this. Well, you know what? We need a little bit more. And she was like, oh, well, that's not part of the agreement. And he was like, yeah, but I'm a kind of need you to do it because, like, these are the requirements. And then when she didn't present, it was just like, okay, well, like, listen, like, these are your only two choices and stuff like that. And then he had to send a message, and then he decided to kill one of her people, and then she felt some type of way, and he was just like listen, like, these are the requirements. If you don't execute, then there's going to be execution. And She was just like, we understand. And then he killed another person. He's like, I don't think you understand what's going on here. This is what we want. This is what we need. And if you don't do what we want, we're going to execute. She decked him in the face. And then that's when he was like, oh, you've done it now. Killed them all. It literally killed everybody in there. And Negan got pissed off because that was a resource. Because we all know Negan said that people are a resource. Mm-hmm. And if you delete that resource, then we're getting depleted. And now we got to find more shit. So when Negan got back information like that, they had that. I think that's actually dope that they did like a hand-to-hand combat, because that's how it's supposed to be. It's like, okay, like we got two people who's trying to take in charge and stuff like that, so we're gonna have a ring around and we're gonna see hand-to-hand combat, one-on-one, who is supposed to be in charge. And when he was fighting him and shit like that, he was choking him out and just like, you decided to kill all those people and now I gotta fix what you made. Yeah. And I was just like, you could tell the anger in his face, because he generally did care about those people. Negan wasn't a douchebag, but he was, I wouldn't say he was a dictator, but he knew the parameters. He knew for a fact that what he needed and what he needed for resources, and he knew that people were important.
He knew when he had to be mean to get the job done, to take care of the masses.
He knew the objective, and he knew what he needed to follow through. So when he killed Simon, it was just like dude, like you fucking killed these people that were giving us resources, all because you were trying to fucking whip out your dick and winging around because you thought you were the hot shit and trying to make these commands when you're not really in command. When I say, who are you? And then you say, I'm Negan, you're representing me. And now you're going over to another place that I'm over collecting shit. And now you're making it seem like this is what I'm offering and I'm asking for more. Don't ask for more if you're already getting it. You already gave that line. It's just like, I want half of your food, half of your ammo, and half of your resources. You know, point blank and simple. I'm not taking it all, but just know what I call half is what I call half. Yeah. Now, let's say like I'm leaving you with like a little bit of scraps, whatever like that. Then that's on you, because you you made that executive decision that you thought that this is what was half, and then we take a certain amount and it's like, well, this is what we're left with. It's like, no. Always give yourself ample amount, because if someone comes in and then they decided to be like, hey, we need X, Y, and Z, make sure you have yourself another stovetop on the top so that way you can keep yourself cooking. Because now you're over here fucking yourself over because the person that you decided you made that deal with is now taking that amount. And then all it takes is that person to fuck it up. And now they're coming in and they're taking more what they got. And then you got the main person who, you know, approaches that person.
Yeah. But, I think. Another one I would probably say is Soul Eater.
Oh, yes. That's definitely Soul Eater. Black Star, fucking...
Just all of them. It just shows that a weapon... and its
Meister
and its master are just, you gotta flow together, and one needs the other. You can't work without each other.
That's a really good example too. Yes,
teamwork, team building.
Because if the souls are matching, it's not gonna flow right.
And I mean, you could take that in an aspect of friendships. You could take that in an aspect of relationships. You could take that in any aspect. And I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, there's too much fan service, this and that. I mean, that's you're going to find that in all animes, especially coming from overseas. But if you look past it, I mean, it definitely, the story, the gist of it all comes together. It's just about bond.
Yep.
I mean, it's like they say in the song, it's like, to become one. It's also meaning to be connected.
Yeah.
A bond stronger than worlds.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I hate to cut you off. I don't know if you ever watched the show Bake the Grappler.
No, I haven't seen
that. That was another little bit of an old school one that came out with most recent ones. But Bake the Grappler, it was another. Let me tell you this. This kid was 16 16 years old, and he fought, I want to say, I think it was either from 100 to 50 guys all on one. And he had to get in that mind state where he backed himself up against fence wall, and he started fighting. He's like, all right, now I'm against the wall, and now I can fight them and stuff like that. And there was 2 police officers there, and then one of the police officers was like, should we help him? He was like, nah. It's like, let him do this. This is part of his training. And then his partner was just like, part of his training? And it's like, what kind of guy goes up against these many people and he's against the odds? He's like, trust me, if you know this kid and you've seen the stuff that he's capable of, trust me, this is part of his training. And that just shows you that he went through that conditioning. His father, I'm trying to remember his father's name, but his father was nothing to reckon with. He stopped an earthquake with just the fist of his hand. Like, it was Bake going to be fighting his father, and his father showed up on a private jet, whatever like that. He didn't pay for it. He dated some, it was Bake's mother, and she was like good amount of money and stuff like that. And he got like a private jet, and they flew down because, like, you know, they decided that this is when the fight's gonna happen. Literally, earthquake was starting to happen. It was showing up on the news, and then his father was like, oh, this is like, well, it looks like we got a little bit interruption. And then he just kind of smiled and stuff like that. And then all he had to do was take his fist, throw it down on the ground, literally stop the whole earthquake. And he's like, so I guess we can go ahead and get started. Like, dude, like, that's just like, if you're able to stop an earthquake with just your fist, like, that's crazy. And then another thing about Bake's father was that his muscles, the definition of his muscles alone was able to resemble a demon's face. Do you know how chiseled you have to be to have your muscles to literally define a demon
face
on your back of a face? You're talking about like literally like countless hours of like conditioning, training, every single small muscle, big muscle to really configure it so that way when you flex, you can literally see it's not a tattoo. It's not a tattoo. It's literally embedded. It's a muscle that's embedded in your body that resembles a demon on your back. That's crazy.
Yeah. That speaking of conditioning, that reminds me of the anime One Punch. Man,
Dude, he did. What was it? Every single day.
1,000 push-ups,
1,000 push-ups, 1,000 miles, and stuff like
all that every day.
I mean, it was like people like to call it like a meme anime because like it was just like, well, like if you're gonna be calling an anime One Punch Man, then obviously that's all it takes him is one punch. I remember there was one episode that he fought. Keyword fought because he didn't really fucking fight her. It was a mosquito lady, and she was just like saying all this bullshit and stuff like that, and he just like kind of looked at her like with a blank face and stuff like that, and literally all homeboy had to do was literally that's all he had to do was like literally just went up to her, clapped. That's all he had to do because it wasn't even like he had to fight with her. But then when he does do his fighting, he calls a serious punch. That's when you obviously he's taking it serious because his normal punch is doing like extremely heavy damage. So imagine him taking it serious.
Full punch.
Yeah, his sidekick. I believe his sidekick was named Gyro or Jiru or something like that, and when they were doing their practice run, Gyro threw like a nice like strong heavy punch, and he only made like a little bit of a wave, and then I think I remember one punch his name. I think it's Hamimon or like Hinamon. I think it was Hamimon, and all he had to do was like literally like say like serious punch. boom, like, dude, all you saw was like literally the whole like, I'm talking about a whole
Earth, just
like the
Earth
whole
just
fucking layer, like literally all around the earth. All you had to do was just say serious punch, and it went all around, like all the way around.
I remember there was one, he fought this big, like, ugly monster.
Yes, that was the only time he used a serious punch.
Flicked him.
Yeah.
No, he flicked them for one attack.
Oh yes,
And it
yes,
completely
yeah.
just- It, like, completely, like, his skin came off everything, and he just got sent, and you saw him fly around the world.
And then he transformed, and then he went to a more serious mode, and then that's when
He did
one
the
punch was.
yeah.
He was just like, all right, so this is how we're gonna do. He's like, all right, I have some time to kill. I'm gonna do serious punch, and then when he hit him with the serious punch, it was fully on, like, on contact connection. And then when he got hit with that, like literally, like the whole body, like obliterated, it was gone. Another if we're gonna go for anime movies, another one I would like to mention is Berserk.
Yes.
If you watch Berserk from the first, second, and third movie, dude, those movies are dark, dude. I don't know if you have you seen any of them?
Not that I know of. No.
Yeah, nah, dude. You need to.
There's one anime that sticks with me. I can't remember the name of it, but it's this little girl. Is basically she gets her eyes cut out, and she can't see them.
I think I know
I think is that-
what anime you're
I think
talking.
is that Fate with Hercules?
I don't think it's Fate, but I think it's closely on the same bracket because there's a lot of animes that like are close to Fate because you're talking about like producers and directors and then animation. So what they you gotta think that like when the producers like the animation of other animators, they'll see what they're offering and they're like, hey, like I'm doing this anime, I'm gonna go join you in so that way you can kind of like, you know, help me out and stuff like that, which is good. I think
Well,
I
they're
think
more universal over there. They're more willing to help each other out and work alongside each other. And
Yes.
like, hey, yeah, sure, you can use this. Yeah, sure. Over here, it's like, oh, copyrights. You know, you got to get the rights to this, the rights to that. You know,
which I think
You
it should
want help-
it should be universal.
Yeah, it should be universal. You should have ownership of what you do, but at the same time, there shouldn't be any reason why you can't help each other out and work on a project together.
Exactly. But
But
yeah, no, there's
a lot of animes.
no, there's definitely a lot of animes that again, to bring it back to Berserk, there was one moment I don't want to spoil it for you, but like eventually you're gonna find it out. There was this one moment in the Berserk movie, and it was really fucked up where the main character fell in love with the female that was like she was a good fighter and stuff like that, and they grew a relation. And the other he was first a buddy of the main character, but then he kind of went on the dark side because like he went through a lot of stuff, whatever like that, and they went to a dark realm, and he raped he raped the girl in front of the main character because he was trying to plant a demon seed into her to birth the new, like, I guess, like, messiah of, like, the demon world. And her words were, oh, like just close your eyes, like don't look, just keep them closed. And he's over here, like, literally, like, putting, like, they were really graphic, like, you can, like, literally see, like, yeah, you can see the cock going inside her, him pumping his shit inside her, and she was like literally like she was tied up by demons and stuff like that, and he was held up by like some demon by his arm. So what he decided to do with so much anger, you could see the tears because he was
his arm off.
Yeah, he was in tears of anger, of like just pure anger and emotion, and he decided to take his blade just and you could just hear him like and finally decided to finally was able to cut it off. Demons tried to catch him, but he was running like way too fast, and then he tried to fight the dude that was raping the girl that he loved and stuff like that. He flew away, and then out of nowhere, it was another character that came in, and this was the same character that talked to him previously before. The reason why I'm pointing this out, because this is actually a important memo that is actually very inspiring, because the certain stuff that he says in this memo, it's very inspirational. Okay, so this is what the knight, that I guess you could call it the knight in shining armor, but he was actually, I guess, like a dark soul, or I guess you could call it a fallen angel. He said, "Take heed, struggler, soon a rain of blood, the likes of which you can't imagine, shall fall upon you. You take heed, struggler, endure and contend, for that alone is the sword that drives death. Do not forget these words." And that gives me like a little bit. I get goosebumps reading that, because that kind of like tells you, because it's just like basically in that memo, what it's basically talking about, and what it's saying, if I was gonna put it in like simplify, it's like basically know that life is gonna give you bullshit, and you have to endure that. Don't quit when you feel like that's it. Endure the bullshit, because more bullshit is gonna come. You have yourself, and then you have your sword. That's your, that's your bread and butter, or that's like your utility. Use that to cut down. And again, there's gonna always be more bullshit coming towards you. So endure the fight and endure the rain. Because a lot of people, like, I always see it when it comes down to rain, even driving or people walking and stuff like that, nobody likes the rain. But you gotta think about it, like, the rain is nothing but water.
It's not gonna go anywhere either.
But on top of that, like, you gotta think about it on a more higher type of level, that rain is more of a refresher. It's just rinsing. It's rinsing the bullshit that happened throughout the week, and then it's re-cleansing the stuff that happened. Yeah, you can call it, humidity. You can call it because you're living in the South. You can call it because, X, Y, and Z and stuff like that. Mother Nature, condensation. I mean, we all learned about it in science class. When we get a certain temperature, it starts to heat up, and then it elevates the gases, and it goes to the clouds, and then it brings it down towards the rain.
I just know it because Luke Bryan, rain makes corn, corn makes whiskey, whiskey makes my wife a little frisky.
Yeah, no. I mean, definitely shout out to Luke Bryan, but like I said, it's just, when you think of it on that highest perspective, and then you're going into depth of it, the way that I don't like to really like dive too much into stuff, but when I see certain stuff that's naturally, I don't like to question it. I like to just accept it for what it is. When we went on that nature hike near the library and stuff like that, I didn't mind it, because like, there's a couple webs here and stuff like that, be careful, like, I gotta push back the branch and stuff like that. Alright, it's all nature and stuff like that. Then when, I'll be honest with you, when I saw that waterfall, or like that little like small waterfall, it was like a sight to behold. I love seeing stuff like that, because when you absorb nature, and like, I'll be honest with you, I mean, like, if you smoke and you're doing it up with the weed or whatever like that, or if you're drinking and then you see like nature and stuff like that, it's a whole different vibe. I mean, it's amplified. That's, just point blank. It's straight up. But when you're seeing it more on a natural level, it's a whole different perspective, because then you're able to see it more inner, because it's kind of challenging with you. You got to think that like, we're all based off of like that whole caveman, like all the way back to like the AC, BC and stuff like that. That's all we had, was nothing but nature. So when we see nature and stuff like that, we kind of take a pause and like be honest with me. When you see nature, how do you feel? You feel at peace. Yeah. You feel at peace. Safe. You feel relaxed. You feel safe and stuff like that. Like when I went to the White Mountains with my ex, and we saw like beautiful. Even with snow on it and stuff like that, it still looked beautiful. Like, sure, we might have like slip and slide, tried to get there and stuff like that, but overall, like, just like the destination alone and just looking at, like, dude, it looked at like when you were doing a puzzle and like you had like those beautiful images and then you finally put the puzzle pieces all together. It was just like so beautiful. Now imagine seeing like all those little small like brinks and like those little linings gone, and then that's all you're seeing. It's just nothing but a beautiful waterfall, but in motion, and you're hearing the sounds. You might hear a bird here and there. You might hear some crickets and stuff like that. It's the small things that you gotta appreciate. And to piggyback, going to anime, there's a lot of animes that like there's a lot of like slow moments, and then there's a lot of like filter episodes. Those filter episodes, they may bore you, but some of those filter episodes, like, they're like very calm, they're understanding, and they definitely have a lot of character like development, or maybe character definition. So like those filter episodes, they definitely come in queue. I want to say there was another anime that I was very fond of. I want to say it was between I hate to mention it, but Dragon Ball Z. I think Dragon Ball Z is very a high definition of all like males. I mean, I don't know if females use it. I mean, shout out to the females if they do use it for like gym wise or whatever they use it. I mean, shout out to them. I mean, I've seen some females rocking Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, and then I'm not down you. I'm not like hating on it. I think that's awesome. But yeah, like Dragon Ball Z, like that was like a huge high definition for muscle development, you channeling your inner self and stuff like that. Because when Goku was doing those one arm push ups and he was counting to 1,000, and you're talking about like gravity that was like far beyond like a normal human comprehension. Now, he was going from like, yes, he was a Saiyan descendant, but he didn't know about his Saiyan powers like a little bit too long ago. Like after it went from like the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, then he started developing and stuff like that. Then after Gohan got kidnapped by Raditz and stuff like that, he started to kind of a little bit explore it. Then when he went to the world of what was the world by Piccolo? I'm trying to remember, but the world that was by Piccolo, he trained himself, and he was in the little incubator that was like giving him the energy, letting him breathe and stuff like that, and recuperating him. One thing that I love about Dragon Ball Z was the hyperbolic time chamber. The hyperbolic time chamber basically dictates that time moves a lot faster in the hyperbolic time chamber than it does in real life. So let's say if you spend like maybe like 20 minutes or like maybe about an hour, that's like 2 or 3 years in actual reality. So there was a time that Trunks and Vegeta came out, and they had a little bit of a stubble, but they had that experience because they trained for that for long. And then it was Goku and Gohan, and this was the Cell Saga, I believe. And then they both came back, and they were training and stuff like that. They didn't have too much of stubble, but they were able to master the sand. They were able to make the sand level like if it was just you breathing air. Because if you think of it like that, like if you're going Super Saiyan, then you're talking about going on a higher level. And if you're able to live on a higher level continuously, like if it's breathing air, that's That's extremely beneficial. And then there was another time that Goku and Vegeta, they went to the hyperbolic chamber, but like obviously they didn't shower, they didn't really eat too much, they were just way too busy training, and they both came back with beards because they were just constantly training. And then when they came back, it was just you could see like
Yeah.
the definition,
Yeah.
and you could see like the beard and all that jazz and stuff like that. So yeah, all these animes, they have high influence, and they have a lot of like beneficial to like really like drive you in there.
Yeah. I guess one last one. Fairy Tale. I'd say
Ooh,
definitely. I mean, might not be everybody's cup of tea because it is a shonen. I know some people feel certain type of way about shonens, but it's definitely goes through obvious shonen. It's all about your team, your family, and the main character, Natsu, always gets stronger no matter what to overcome the problem at hand because of the willpower of friends and family. But like you said, in that anime you were talking about where the guy was being strung up and the girl was getting raped in front of him, he cut his arm off because he was so angry because his will for his friend or his significant other drove him. The same goes for, in this anime, Fairy Tail. All of them are like a family. Fairy Tail's a family. It's not, oh, you're my coworker or something. And I feel like it's nice. It's a nice breath of fresh air that, hey, my family doesn't mean it has to be blood, because your family's not always going to be blood. Your family could be someone who's a close friend that you've known for 15 plus years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a nice breath of fresh air to see. I mean, you could do a deep dive on that anime too. I mean, I'm sure you could go all day talking about Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, to be honest with you, I could go in deep depth about like a lot of animes, but I like what you're saying because certain animes, they hit us in a certain type of way because they share characteristics of how we felt certain times. Like when I watched Naruto for like a couple times, I didn't really fully understand Rock Lee until when it came down to training, because he was training himself relentlessly, but he wasn't training himself relentlessly because he was trying to get better. No, he was training himself because he was trying to make himself better, because he had something inner. He has something like more deeper that he was fighting for. And then when I watched Berserk, those movies and stuff like that, you're talking about this dude that like people had like zero clue about. This was the first movie, like people had like a little bit of gist about, but like not really too much. And then he was able to prove himself. And then the person that was captain of that crew, again, it was the same person that unfortunately did that to him with the girl that he fell in love with. But we're gonna watch that movie and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. It's just it's crazy about the fact of how these animators and these directors are able to catch your heart and really like dig and like pull the strings, because they know what triggers a human being and they know what doesn't. So you know what? We can have this character do this, but how about we have this character do that? Because then they're going to feel more involved, because what if they saw rape in front of them, or like maybe they had a significant other that went over to, you know, a college dorm and all this stuff was happening and they couldn't control it. The next, you know, she's calling you crying because this happened, and you know, like I went over to my friend's house and I got raped, you know what I'm saying? Like it you know, the plethora is just huge. Or, you know, like say you're in the middle of a fight, you don't know what to do, and then next, you know, shit comes to shove, like Persona, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're doing Persona like 5 and then it comes to that conclusion that like the main character had to decide, or
That
from the
break-
flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, like, do I defend myself? Do I hit this person? Whatever, like that. And then it's just like you were defending yourself in the right, and now you're getting put in the prison cell, or you're getting questioned and stuff like that.
As if you hurt someone or killed someone.
It's the aftermath, and people don't realize the aftermath. I mean, like, obviously in Berserk, it's a whole different story because they didn't really have all of that, but, like, when you're dealing with stuff that was, like, in that age, like, obviously everything's different because you have, like, police forces, you have holding cells and all that stuff like that if you commit a crime,
But it's
and
nice
stuff.
that animes touch all walks of life. From
Yes.
way back before Law and Order.
Yeah.
And then animes now that do have Law and Order, and then animes that just talk about simple things like family, friendship, and you don't need to be blood. So, but I think you want to wrap it up. I'll let you do the wrap.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and call it. Like I said, definitely check out your animes. If you know a person that watches animes, definitely reach out to them and check out some of the ones that we mentioned.
I'd say you got a favorite anime, go ahead and put it in the comments, or go ahead and just, maybe rewatch it.
Yeah, definitely rewatch it. Sometimes it takes a little bit for us, to like absorb it and stuff like that. So rewatch it. I hate to cut it short, but I'm gonna end this on like a little bit of a leaving note, on a fading note. Solo Leveling, that's definitely another good anime. Y'all should definitely watch it. And Kuzai Jutsu is another good one.
That's a good one.
Because I felt bad for my boy with the white hair. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But when his boy died and he got resurrected and he got his head split open and got controlled by a demon, that was very sad. And then another moment, Naruto Shippuden, when Kakashi had to fight Obito. There was that combat. You can't even say anything about that combat. That combat was fucking phenomenal. And when Naruto's going in with that combat because it changes the definition. But, yeah. This was Conversation Combos, and we're leaving it off on that. And that is a wrap.